Alright, alright. This thing's live. I'm so excited. This is part two, because the damn thing just up and crashed. Anyway, I was just rambling on. The last one sucked anyway. Sucked! Sucked! Bad video. The damn thing sucked. I just rambled, didn't get anywhere. Basically, I pointed out I just watched a video by the anti-trekker that was referencing why any conflict between Star Trek and Star Wars would be one-sided, and I was going to get around to discussing Lino versus Steam in reference to D-Live and D-Tube, and if I was going to talk about D-Tube and D-Live, I might as well talk about YouTube and BitChute as well, too. Compare them. Rumble. I want to give Rumble a try. I mean, I've seen a few videos on Rumble, but, And the phone! Of course! The phone is always going to ring! The phone! There just wouldn't be anything at all if the phone didn't. Hello? Hello? Alright, that was just the phone. Somebody was trying to scam me. Yay! I brought up this thing because I wanted to get to the phone before it went to voicemail, but I figured I'd bring up some sort of distraction. Where are you? Where are you? There we go. There we go. Now things are exciting. Actually, the resolution of this damn thing, you probably can't even see that. The damn bubbles. Bubbles. Bubbles floating all around on the screen. If that visual effect even worked. I need to trim my fingernails. I need to shave. God damn it, I never get around to any of that. Mutter, curse, mutter. Damn it. Yeah, alright, get that off the screen. There we go. Everything's better now. Yeah, that was just somebody scamming me. It was a blatant scam. They claimed that they were calling from Visa. Didn't say Visa account with this banking institution, that banking institution, this business or corporation. Just, it was Visa. And they wanted me to press 1 to get a 0% interest rate. And it's a scam. I don't know how they set it up, but supposedly if you press the button on the phone, they can scam you somehow. You just hang up on the fuckers. Just hang up on the motherfuckers. And it's like, what the fuck's this? Visa's calling? I am now eligible for a 0% interest rate. Yeah. The financial institutions are looking forward to giving us all 0% interest rates. Yeah, that's realistic. That's gonna happen. The same banking institutions that would, leave nations in poverty, in a particularly large nation to the south of this one, you have people that can't even afford health care, and people losing their homes because of banks, or at least the banking industry. I mean, you had people in North America who, for some reason, they decided they wanted to drive bloated, excessively large vehicles that nobody else anywhere in the world would ever consider touching with a 10-meter pole. And it's like, I don't want that fucking absurd monstrosity. I want to drive something lightweight, agile, and fun that doesn't require a bunch of fucking gas just to go a short distance. But nope. Gotta have something large. You'd have like big bloated businesses with making big bloated morbidly obese vehicles and people buying them. Then all of a sudden the banking institution crashes the whole economy and the people in those nations can't afford to buy the vehicles that those companies were manufacturing because they're absurd gas guzzling monstrosities. And it's like, oh, we can't afford this absurdity anymore. And it's like, then the car businesses start going nearly bankrupt, and they're like, wait, the government just bailed out the banks who ruined the whole economy. Maybe they'll bail us out because we actually provide real jobs to people. And then the government, who was bought off by the banks, is like, you, how dare you come looking to us for handouts? You're not the banks. You haven't been lining our pockets with money like the banks were. You're not getting a bailout. Yeah, I remember actually seeing the clip where the government was chastising the CEOs of Ford, Chrysler, and General Motors for letting their companies go out of business during that economic collapse. You know, when they bailed out the banks that caused the whole damn thing. You know, and they're like, well, yeah, the economy's falling apart. You know, we're coming. We're hoping that you'll bail us out. And they're like, how dare you ask for this? And there's like this moment where you see the CEOs from Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler. They kind of like look at each other. Yeah. They bailed out the banks, and then these guys are there. They're like, "How dare you come asking us for money?" That general attitude. That general attitude. So yeah, no financial institution is going to be looking to give anybody 0% interest. But that was the scam. That was the scam on the phone. Excuse me. Yep. Oh, what a lovely time to be alive. So, I'm not getting around to talking about anything, but this hasn't crashed yet. This damn thing hasn't crashed yet. Oh my God, I've been aging. And I haven't shaved this week. Alright, so what the hell was I talking about? What was I talking about, huh? Yeah, it was, I just watched a video. A battle between Star Trek and Star Wars ships would be one-sided because targeting so much amazingly better on Star Trek ships, and range of targeting, all of it. All of it far superior in Star Trek. And the thing that I always found that stood out to me as the biggest issue was all the times that it was referenced. In fact, one time in the original series, and it's hard to take the original series serious because of how many times it contradicted itself, but in the original series, they basically referenced, if they were fighting without warp drive, they were in trouble because they'd just be, they'd be wallowing around like, I don't know, a garbage scour. What the hell they said it was, but, they if they were going to hold their own against the Klingons, they were going to need to be agile and have the warp drive, And you know what? Yeah, that makes sense. Now, the thing is, just about every Star Trek show has showed both phasers and photon torpedoes fired at warp. There is a preference for photon torpedoes because of better targeting. The photon torpedo can sustain its own warp field. But realistically, if the ship can exist within a warp field, a phaser beam can exist within the warp field. And granted, it would probably fall to normal space as it exits the warp field. But then again, I suppose if you're firing it away from the ship in front, it might never reach its target before the ship gets there. But, it's technically, if it starts to slow down as it exits the warp field, gets to a weaker part of the warp field, well, it wouldn't fall back to the ship because it would be falling back into the warp field, which is a different space-time condition, which would, that'd be an interesting idea, if they play around with, in Star Trek, is what would happen if you're generating something that's forward, constantly flowing ahead of the ship in the warp field, but it should never really exit the warp field, because if it completely exits that subspace bubble, it's going to be normal space-time and start moving back towards the ship. But as it reaches that threshold, it's also going to immediately be coming right back into the warp field, which is going to be, taking that inertia away from the ship that it already had, which is not comparable to the ship traveling faster than the speed of light. But as it comes back into that field is again going to be applying to it, plus any kinetic energy it already has, or equivalent to a kinetic energy, whatever, that'd be interesting. Could you get a massive energy at the very at the very most forward point of the warp field? How would that work? That'd be an interesting thought. And the one ship that had a little bit of an issue firing particle beam weapons from its own warp field was the NX-01. But apparently it worked that out. In fact, when they were having a problem with it, they said that they were working on it. And then in an emergency situation, they ended up firing the phase cannons, which aren't phasers, but they are a particle beam weapon. And they didn't blow out their own warp field or their own warp drive. They didn't damage anything to their self in particular. That was kind of an emergency situation. So maybe even if they hadn't fixed the problem, maybe they would have taken the risk anyway. Maybe it was a risk comparable to plugging in a surge protector into a questionable electrical supply. Or plugging the device into the questionable electrical supply without a surge protector. Maybe it'll burn out, maybe it won't. Maybe it was just a risk. But odds are they probably got that sorted out because they said they were working on it. And then later, a few episodes later, they were firing particle beams while at warp. But photon torpedoes being more effective because you don't have to worry about how far the outer layer of your warp field goes and whether or not it interacts with the warp field of another ship, because the photon torpedoes can sustain their own warp field because they're a torpedo, they're a capsule, they're a whatever. They can have their own little generator on board for keeping them going faster than the speed of light. Yeah, of course this. Yeah. Finished off that can. There we go. So that was my thought was, Star Trek ships, can fire particle beams at warp. Star Wars ships, on the other hand, they can't fight at hyperspace. Now, one advantage to the Star Wars ships jumping to hyperspace, assuming they're in a universe where hyperspace works, which just about everything seems to work in the Star Trek universe. So if they ever crossed over, I would say, yeah, probably. They probably could still go to hyperspace. Maybe there would be an energy cost for doing it in a different universe, but maybe it would take more energy to do it. I don't know, but if a Star Wars ship jumps to hyperspace, though, it is immune to combat. It is immune to being targeted by other ships. It, in its own hyperspace field, the environment around that ship is completely separated from anything else in the universe in any serious way, unless it's a large mass that, produces a lot of gravity, which reaches into hyperspace, which could pull the ship out of hyperspace. In fact, it's possible. In fact, it's hard to say how hyperspace really works because they used to have a lot of resource materials that discuss this for in Star Wars novels and comics and technical manuals. Then most of that got decanonized. But for the most part, hyperspace worked a lot like warp, except I don't really. Is this screen getting kind of? Nah, I think that's just a screen protector creating a glare. I thought there was some. Actually, for all I know, I might be about to lose connection again. But anyway, if Star Wars Hyperdrive continues to be consistent with what it originally was supposed to be, actually you could interact with things in normal space while at in hyperspace. It's just that odds are nobody's missiles are going to be able to target you. Nobody's missiles are going to be able to catch up with you. You exist in a state where you barely interact with normal matter, but the ship does have force fields to protect it from little micrometeorites and things like that. And must be something about the way that gravity bends hyperspace, because you have an increased risk of hitting planets and black holes and stars and things that are actually so incredibly spread out that even traveling at those incredible speeds, odds are you wouldn't hit them. So, yeah, so there is like dangers to hyperspace. In fact, hyperspace is generally far more dangerous than warp drive in any way that's ever been portrayed. But if you had a ship that can jump to hyperspace, other ships in hyperspace don't really interact with it. I think the way it's portrayed, that I suppose if the two ships were attached when they jumped to hyperspace, they would be in their own little spatial bubble together. Maybe then those two ships could shoot each other. Something similar in Stargate, I think, was seen where the ships couldn't fight in hyperspace. But there was a point where one ship was attached to another one in hyperspace. Oh, excuse me. And he was questioning whether or not he should fire on the other ship while in hyperspace. Yeah. In an episode of Stargate Atlantis, I recall. But, yeah, for the most part, yeah, hyperspace is a get-out-of-combat-free card in Star Wars, though there are ways to block hyperspace travel with special energy fields and stuff like that. So, in a way, the Star Wars ships could get out of combat with the Star Wars ships at any time they wanted by jumping to hyperspace. And what you going to do? The Star Wars ship's going to get away from you unless you can generate one of those fields that prevent them from jumping to hyperspace. But of course, the Star Trek ship has the same advantage. If it jumps to warp and the Star Wars ship doesn't have warp, well, unless you get warp, you ain't chasing something at warp anyway. So with Star Trek and Star Wars ships, there's going to be no faster than light combat, except the Star Trek ships are going to be free to use the warp drive to make the ship go a little bit faster, a little bit lighter. I mean, the warp drive has been seen used at warp factors, like 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. So, yeah, you can go, you can use the warp drive and not necessarily exceed the speed of light. You can use the warp drive to quickly maneuver around other ships. The whole Picard maneuver thing that was referenced in Next Generation was him basically at the edge of an enemy's sensors range and jumping to high warp so that he appeared to be in two places at the same time. Because at the enemy's sensors, once he was at the outer range of the enemy sensors, well, then he might as well been trying to view him with light, and yeah. And light isn't going to travel fast enough. He could outrun the light with the warp drive. Anyway, that's beside the point. Basically, Star Trek ships, even if they didn't have an amazing targeting advantage, the warp drive is just so versatile that any sort of conflict between Star Trek and Star Wars, the ship-to-ship combat is going to be heavily biased towards Star Trek, as far as I'm concerned, because the warp drive is too much of an advantage in combat. That said, if the Empire was in the same galaxy as the United Federation of Planets, and it decided to start building bases and colonies, they could jump just about anywhere in the galaxy faster than the United Federation of Planets could. So the hyperspace travel of their ships would have an advantage in long-term strategy, in building, in getting places. The Star Wars ships have a huge advantage in long-term strategy, or even relatively short-term strategy. But if the ships have to fight one-on-one, the Star Trek ships are going to start chewing up the Star Wars ships like nothing. The Star Wars ships should have incredibly hard times targeting the Star Trek ships. If the Star Trek ships go to warp, there's nothing the Star Wars ships can do about it. But vice versa, if the Star Wars ships get to hyperspace, then the Star Trek ships can't do a whole lot about that either. But anyway, that's my thoughts. Yeah, I thought that I was inspired to talk about that because of a video the Anti-Trekker did, and yeah, I mean, talking about Star Trek and Star Wars and all that stuff is something I like to do, and I probably should have pre-recorded this so I could edit how I rambled on about it, but that was my thoughts. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would find a story or a scenario where the United Federation of Planets ended up in a conflict with the Empire to be very interesting. Because, one, I like crossovers. And two, it would be very interesting. I think when the ships fought one-on-one, the Star Trek ships would eat the Star Wars ships alive. They would, metaphorically, of course. The destructive power of phasers, the ability to tear apart or liberate forces at the subatomic or subnuclear level. I mean, if it was phasers, I mean, that's an incredibly advanced technology compared to the turbo lasers of Star Wars, which are basically glorified plasma bolts turned into like a particle bolt. Basically plasma or particles. Particleized plasma, I don't know, but something along that lines, And basically the Star Wars weapons, while probably uprated with a lot more energy, would be something similar to what the NX-01 launched with in the first episode before it had the phase cannons or even torpedoes online, when it was just firing those primitive plasma cannons. And they even had a similar visual effect for it. Nothing left in this. Nothing left in this. Nothing. Nothing at all. Yeah, so on one hand, the Star Trek ships would just have like so much advantage over the Star Wars ones. Even with the more massive number of weapons banks on the Star Wars ships, I just don't see the Star Wars ships as being a great threat to the Star Trek ships. Although the Star Wars ships tend to be fairly large, and my nose is really itchy. I think it's my allergies acting up. And my sinuses are kind of swelling shut. So I should take a shot of nasal spray. I feel like I got a bunch of cat hair in my nose and fucking itchy. It's itchy. There we go. Get a good dose of xylometazoline. I think that's how you pronounce that. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, I think it would be an interesting concept because the Star Wars ships, though, they could get to like so much more territory than the Star Trek ships. So they would have the ability to build up and come back as a threat. So if you had the Empire and the United Federation of Planets somehow in a conflict, the Empire being a threat to the United Federation of Planets, it would be interesting because the Empire would be a threat that the Federation would have to deal with, and if they tried to expand into Federation space and decided they wanted to be enemies with the Federation, the Federation would probably try for diplomacy, and that wouldn't necessarily work, or if any plot line where the two end up in conflict, it wouldn't work anyway. And yeah, and the Empire would have the ability to get to areas of space the Federation would not be able to get to, at least not easily. And that could make for what I think would be a fairly interesting conflict. Strategy game. That would be an awesome strategy game. You basically have the Empire able to go just about anywhere in the galaxy with the United Federation of Planets just able to move slowly. But when the two meet, the Federation ships easily chewing through the Empire ships, even the big, huge ones, unless incredibly, incredibly outnumbered. Now my nose is still itchy, but now it just feels like nasal spray running around in there. Yeah, this is a video I really should have done live. Yeah, it's not like I should edit that out. Anyway, my sinuses are kind of opening up a bit, so yeah, that's good. Anyway, basically what I'm saying is it will be a very interesting dynamic, especially for a strategy game. I can picture Star Trek Birth of the Federation only being like Starfleet, or actually the Federation, versus the Empire. If you ever played the game Star Trek The Next Generation, Birth of the Federation, you know what I'm talking about, and if you haven't played the game, you should. The first couple times you play it, you're like, this is kind of confusing. I clicked on what here? Why didn't this do that? It's like, and then all of a sudden it's like, how did I not know this? It's like so straightforward and intuitive. And you build up your empires, and you can be the Federation or the Ferengi or the Klingons or the Romulans or the Cardassians, and just build up your civilization and deal with the neighboring ones that might choose diplomacy, or they might choose to attack you. They might decide to trade with you. Set up some trade routes. Everybody makes more money that way. It's a great game. But if it was like the Federation versus the Empire, and Starfleet having all of its advantages when the two meet face to face, but then the Empire being able to get just about anywhere in the galaxy with very few travel restrictions, that could make an awesome game. Anyway, so I really went on talking about Star Trek and Star Wars longer than I thought, but I was going to talk about the difference between Lino and Steam. Steam and Lino. And as I start to ramble about this, I am going to start looking at my cell phone, and I am checking my mail. And that sounds like a gag, like something's going to distract me and I'm going to act all shocked. But actually, no. Why I'm checking my mail is because I was on DLive last night, and I wanted to play around with the abilities and features of DLive. I wanted to be able to tip people when I watch their videos, and I also wanted to be able to invest into the system. And that's all the new mail. That's it. All right, screw that. Nothing interesting. Anyway, I wanted to be able to do that. And when you first sign up, you get so many free Lino points, which is a cryptocurrency similar to Steam. When you first join DLive, or at least when I first joined, you got so many for already being on DLive and then joining up and all that, and you get a few more for registering this or that or whatever. Not that important, but you have a few, and I wanted a few more, so I decided to buy some, because the thing about Lino is, here was the thing I didn't like about Steam. Actually, I wouldn't say this is a problem about Steam, but with cryptocurrency, let's just say you want to buy a Bitcoin. If you don't know what you're doing, it's like, how do I do that? I do this, I do that. You can do it. Okay, but let's just say you want to turn Bitcoin back into money. And it's easier in the States. I think they have more stuff set up there. But I was looking in Canada. I couldn't just have, like, my bank account. I couldn't just turn Bitcoin into Canadian dollars and then send it to my bank account when I was looking up how to do that. I was like, what? It's convoluted? I have to get some other company, someplace in British Columbia to do it. And, and then they'll give me money this way. Like, I was, like, looking at it. It's like, wow, the banking system here really, really lags behind in the category of dealing with cryptocurrency. But with Lino on DLive, they themselves will let you buy Lino points and do it with PayPal. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give this a try. I'm gonna buy some Lino points, and I did. And when I did, they didn't appear in my Lino wallet. So I was like, yeah, well, it says give it a little time, and if it, it might take a few minutes. So I gave it a few hours, and when that didn't work, I sent them an email because it says if it doesn't show up in your wallet or whatever, whatever they call it, was it wallet? They might have. No, they didn't call it the wallet. They called it. I don't remember. But if it doesn't show up, if it doesn't register that you bought those points, if you don't have them, then you can send them a message and they'll fix things or something like that. So anyway, yeah, I sent them the message and the information they should need to fix that problem. And I just checked my messages to see if they did, and they didn't. And the reason why I was willing to buy some Lino is I didn't have a whole lot of money to spare, but I could buy, like $15 worth of Lino, and that would be my chance to, give something like that a try. I was kind of curious about, you get so many points, you can lock them down, which is kind of almost like investing in the system, and I'd also have more points for tipping people. If I watched a video I'd like, I could donate a point to it, it's kind of nice to tip. It's a motivation for the people who make things that are entertaining to keep making things that are entertaining. So if that had worked, and it should work, then that's actually pretty cool, because apparently they'll also let you sell Lino to PayPal. So if you get a bunch of Lino cryptocurrency, you earn a bunch of it on that site, you can turn it back into money as well. The thing I wanted to look into is to find out if you could trade Lino for other cryptocurrency, because it looked like you could get paid in Bitcoin using their website. So turn Lino into Bitcoin. That seems interesting to me. And because I have done so very little with cryptocurrency, to me I was like, oh boy, Lino was going to let me use PayPal to buy and sell Lino points, which is cryptocurrency, and you can turn it into Bitcoin and stuff like that. I wanted to play around with it, see what happens if I started to, upload more videos to DLive, or even try live streaming on DLive, and my nose is still itchy. So there's that. And what else could I say about that other than Lino looked like it was going to allow me to easily use cryptocurrency along with PayPal. Because as it was, when it comes to monetizing videos, and I'm just going to lean because my feet are getting tired. Yes, I'm going to lean. I'm leaning off to the side. There we go. Because, looked like it was going to make purchasing cryptocurrency easy and selling cryptocurrency easy, because I would want to turn it into something that I could, go to the store with and, carry around in my pocket, turn it into something that I could turn into cash and then buy a pack of gum or a liter of fuel, It's not like you can get a lot of fuel anymore. Fuel is expensive. But anyway, it's that to me was very interesting. So I was very interested in DLive, and, hopefully by the time this video crashes, I will get some sort of notification indicating that my problem there. Come on, anything new? No. Some sort of indication that that little problem was seen about, because I purchased Lino, I got their PayPal receipt, and I'm looking forward to it being there in the system and seeing what I can do with Lino, tipping some videos on DLive, turning into locked Lino points, which is kind of like investing in the system in a way, which is kind of like Steam Power is on Steemit, or for Steam. And DLive, when DLive, the people behind DLive joined the Lino blockchain, which from what I read, I'm not really all that up on this, but from what I read, they basically were the same people that created the Lino blockchain were the ones that created DLive. So they basically were like, well, here we are on Steam, but we're taking it off to Lino now, And I thought to myself, isn't there a way that they could set up so that they're using both cryptocurrencies? I don't know. I don't know the behind the scenes on that, but I thought that would be really cool if they could stay on the Steam blockchain, and every time you post something to DLive, it would still be a Steemit article. But on the other side of things, they would have their own cryptocurrency that you could use while you were using DLive, because DLive, while also being a Steemit article and doing stuff with Steam, it was kind of its own website too. But apparently not, or they didn't. They went off and made their own blockchain, which apparently pissed off a lot of people on Steemit, and including the people who use DTube and people who are involved with Steam, because they looked at the history of DLive on Steam and they were very disapproving of how they just up and took off, And I'm not really taking sides on that, really, because I know nothing behind the scenes. I don't know what people were planning to do. I'm not going to judge that. I just looked at Lino as, wow, this looks like a really easy, convenient way for me to purchase a cryptocurrency. And it's directly involved with a video platform. To me, that was very interesting. And I probably rambled about that too much, still saying the same thing about what interested me about Lino. But with Steam, and since I'm talking about videos, I mean, Steam has DTube still, and DPorn is still on Steam. And I don't know, Steam, I've been using Steam longer than, obviously, Lino. I've also been using Steemit and DTube, and for that matter, DPorn, longer than BitChute, because I only really started using BitChute fairly recently. So I do have a bit of a history there, and I know that I found, well, especially DTube and Steemit seem to be a better place to gain followers, especially if you're uploading pre-recorded content. The downside to DLive always seemed to be that it was more focused on promoting its live-streamed content. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's what made DTube and DLive different. DLive started as live streaming and then did some pre-recorded videos on the side. DTube started, I guess, before DLive, but they started with the pre-recorded videos, modeling themselves after YouTube, which is a model that works pretty well for distributing and promoting and organizing your videos. That's why YouTube uses it. So DTube did that, and then DTube added the option to live stream, which I have not actually experimented with live streaming on either DTube or DLive. Ironically, here I am live streaming on YouTube. So it's like, but yeah, so I found that DTube seemed to be the better one for promoting yourself and just getting followers. Excuse me. You never really know how many views you get. That's my biggest problem with DTube is, you know your upvotes, which is great. Upvotes are approval. Downvotes are basically like being flagged. So, I really recommend against giving somebody a downvote unless they really piss you off or they really do something obnoxious. But it's a good way that the community can censor bad content. Like if somebody is really racist, you might think, you know what? You're just insulting people for just having been born. I can picture people downvoting that. And the content is technically still there. It's just slightly hidden, And if copyright infringements, I can picture that getting a downvote because, people want to protect the general environment. They don't really want to get a bunch of large corporations trying to attack the whole platform, either DTube or Steemit. So I can picture that stuff getting downvotes. But it's hard to say, you could just piss somebody off, which is the risk to DTube and Steemit. You could piss off somebody with a lot of power, and they could just start flagging your stuff and screwing over your reputation and the stuff that you've been promoting and making it harder for you to earn Steam, the cryptocurrency. So that's a risk. That's a risk of pissing somebody off and them censoring you, or just plain attacking you, which is really something I would prefer to stay out of. Like, I don't really want to get in wars of. Apparently, there are issues where people were like, this person downvoted this person, so somebody else downvoted them, and crap like that. Apparently that has happened, but I haven't really witnessed a lot of it. I did witness somebody get upset at somebody who uploaded not safe for work content, which was appropriately labeled not safe for work. So he went and downloaded a whole bunch of her stuff, and I didn't approve of that, so I went and upvoted everything he downvoted, because, it's like, that wasn't cool. That was just not cool. And actually, that's somebody that I ended up, when I followed her stuff, I ended up upvoting her fairly often and thought she had cool content, But, so I suppose it was how I learned about this person on Steam, that was cool. But it wasn't cool that somebody with a lot of power just was like, I don't approve of this, so I'm downvoting it. Like, it seemed spiteful, it seemed petty, and, But anyway, that's another story, and in order for me to explain it, I'd be going on even longer than I'm rambling now, so, yeah. So basically, with Steam, there's the risk of, the fridge just crashed. Did you hear that big rattle? Yeah, it sounded like the fridge just crashed. That's what I'm calling it. It was a rattle, but it wasn't like the fridge was actually moving. But it kind of sounded like it, just kind of plunk. So anyway, I'm leaning against the wall because of a fat bastard and I can't stand up anymore. Actually, my feet are just getting tired. My feet are tired. Yeah. So there's risks, involved with dealing with upvotes and downvotes as your system of monetization, and but Steam is pretty good, but I've seen people get really successful on there. I think, like YouTube, the earlier you get on there, the more advantage you have. Now, people have just come out of nowhere late to the game on YouTube, became hugely successful. And so it's obviously anybody could start up on YouTube, make some great content, which is important. It has to be good content. It has to be a hell of a lot better than this video has been. It's possible. It's possible to get success on YouTube. But a lot of people that joined really early on obviously had some advantages. Especially if they were fairly active early on. And, I remember somebody saying, things have changed on YouTube. Years ago, there were some people would sit down, have a piece of toast, record themselves eating the toast, talking about something, and there was their video. And yes, people watched it, but now YouTube is more competitive. There's none of that anymore. And that was said a long time ago. Then they had YouTube's demonetization of all the small channels. And I remember I lost a lot of respect for Rich from Review Tech USA. It's actually why I unsubscribed to his channel, and why I started skipping ads the few times his videos came up. Actually, it didn't matter if I was subscribed or not. YouTube was just saying, here's a video for you to watch. It's Review Tech USA. And I thought to myself, I used to watch his stuff, but I don't anymore. But if it's something that really stood out to me, I'd still watch it, but I'd skip the ad. When the reason why that was, I normally watch the ads of the content creators that I like. And Rich from Review Tech USA went on this big rant about why it was so important that YouTube demonetized the smaller channels and blah, 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 whatever. And he never went back on that, but then he was like,
you know, some people were all upset because they thought I wanted people to be demonetized. No, 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 that's not what I want. It's not that I want this channel or that channel to be demonetized. So, you know, I'm going to promote these people to kind of help them grow to be a bigger channel. And I was like, that's kind of good of you. But no, this was exactly what was going to happen. A lot of people who were happy to be involved with the process, who were probably even benefiting from the small amount of money they got from YouTube, and you know, you being part of the process as an incentive to be involved in YouTube and watch other people in YouTube. You know, they were going to feel rejected and displeased with this whole situation. And of course, some of it's just kind of like, well, we'll also start uploading our videos other places, you know, like DTube. DTube was one of the ones early on that I saw a lot of people go to. And not a lot of people stuck with, like, I've seen a lot of people go to DTube and then not stick with it, and then you'll still see them on YouTube. Because I think DTube didn't grow as fast as a lot of people were hoping. But it is growing, so there is that about it. But YouTube, you know, pissed, kind of annoyed with Rich of Review Tech USA with when he did that video, because I was like, and then I remember it came up after he did that video, because at first it was like he was like, you know what, this is what they need to do. There's too much content. He didn't even word it like that. Basically, it was like he was angry that people were uploading bad content, sometimes just really obnoxious stuff that they were doing with his videos. Which was like, well, they won't be able to get monetized for doing that. But if that's all they're doing, it's hard to picture them really getting monetized in the first place. And it's not going to stop people from doing that. So he's not really gaining anything other than he's promoting something that's going to upset a lot of people who were involved with YouTube and very happy to be involved with YouTube. So it was, and then he was like, I don't get why people thought, you know, I was so against these small channels, you know. And he talked about how he showed clips from somebody's video who was upset about how her channel was demonetized. And it was like something that she worked at. It was like, but she was no longer participating in the monetization part of things. And it kind of made her feel rejected, you know. And it kind of was upsetting, you know, and to her to be no longer monetized. And he said, you know, people like this, you know, I really want to promote their stuff. I mean, they're good content creators and so forth. You know, I'm not really anti-small channel. You know, I was like, yeah, it's like you made it. You just don't care who else is participating. And you don't realize that a lot of people are just going to go away. So, yeah, it's not good. It was not good. So, yeah, it's like... to even begin to word how frustrating or absurdly weird it is, not even weird. It's frustrating to try to even contemplate what the hell Rich Review Tech USA was thinking when he said that, but it comes off as, you know what, I'm not watching his videos anymore. There's only so much time I have in a day, and even if I spent all day watching videos, there's still a lot of stuff out there I could watch, so it's like, screw him. And in fact, actually, I just started watching DTube more, and then after that, DLive and BitChute more. So, yeah, so not only did it limit how much I was, not only did it cut me off from watching Review Tech USA, but I also ended up watching YouTube a whole lot less. Which, to any content creators out there, I do always recommend uploading to multiple sources. Never put everything in one place. You know, spread things around. That's nothing against or for YouTube or DTube, but you should spread things around. But the early days of DTube, or I shouldn't say the early days, because DTube was around for a while prior to this. But around the time a lot of people get demonetized on YouTube, I did notice a big influx of people from YouTube going over to DTube. And I also noticed a lot of them kind of move on. Which is unfortunate, but I still really like DTube. DTube has the limit when you upload a video there, how long DTube will continue to stream it. Technically, there is a way if you have like the software, or if you have a way to stream stuff to the what's it called, the interplanetary file system. If you have a way to stream to that, you can stream your own videos onto the internet somehow. And I don't know that much about that process. But DTube's own server will stream your video for a limited amount of time. With just about everybody else, DLive, YouTube, BitChute, just about everybody else, as far as I can tell, it's an unlimited amount of time. There's no plans to say, well, this video's has been there for a month, time to take it down. No. Well, with BitChute, or not BitChute, with DTube, you have a certain amount of time they'll give you. They plan to constantly increase that default amount of time. And then on top of that, you have an additional amount of time that your video will be streamed for, depending on how much steam it earns, because DTube will take a small cut of that. And you know what? I can accept that. I really don't know how YouTube does it. I mean, people talk about space doesn't mean what it used to. You know, nowadays websites, you can just keep on uploading, you know. And it's like, no, really. I mean, YouTube gets how many years worth of videos uploaded a day? You know, when you take in the amount of time and in a video and how many people around the world are constantly uploading to YouTube, it's pretty impressive that YouTube is able to host what they host. So the fact that DTube only hosts stuff for a limited amount of time, I can't fault them for that. It's a win for YouTube when you put the two side by side, definitely. But, you know, I can't fault the smaller guy for being like, well, I can only host this for so long, and then somebody else's video is going to take up that space. You know, I can't hold that against them. And DTube is constantly improving, you know, and going through minor upgrades. And, you know, there's that. So, I mean, DTube is kind of coming up in the world a little bit, you know, constantly getting a little update here, a little update there. But to me, that's its big limit, is when you upload a video, it's only going to be there for so long. That said, I've accidentally re-uploaded the same video more than once. I was uploading some of my old videos because I had them elsewhere, but I didn't have them on DTube. And I was kind of like, oh, I'll upload one to DTube. And I was like looking through one of the times when I was uploading some videos to DTube, I was like, okay, I want to upload this video. I haven't uploaded this video here. It's like, oh, I know, I'll also upload this one because I uploaded this one around the same time when I originally uploaded this on the internet elsewhere. On YouTube. They're viewable on YouTube. Just like this is on YouTube. Is it still on YouTube? Yep, I've been rambling on for almost an hour. And that's not counting the first time I was rambling on and got disconnected. Anyway. So I accidentally re-uploaded a video to DTube that was already there. Now, as luck had it, the video that was already up there was on there long enough ago that when I clicked on it and realized that it was there, it no longer played. So it was one that was no longer supported. So it was kind of like I brought back a video to DTube that I had put on DTube in the past. Then I realized I uploaded the exact same video, exact same title, exact same thumbnail, probably a different description. And I was like, well, it didn't say, we can't do that, you've already uploaded this. It just took the video as just any other one. And I was like, well, you know what? If my old videos get deleted have been deleted for a while, maybe in the far future, if I upload it again, it wouldn't be so bad, you know, if I get a few more hundred fans or a few more hundred followers, whatever, you know, maybe an old video, I might want to repeat it, you know. I was like, because it no longer plays. I wouldn't recommend just, you know, sitting around waiting for a video to stop streaming and then uploading it again immediately, because you don't want to be like you don't want to spam your content out there. You don't want to keep spitting the things. You know, you don't want to be doing anything inappropriate like that. But at the same time, it's like, hey, this old video doesn't play anymore. I thought it was a pretty good one. You know, like, I might want to share this on Twitter. You know, I might want to, be talking about this again. You know, so it looks like you'll be able to re-upload old videos that no longer play in the future. So I suppose, if your videos are going to delete over time or disappear over time, that's only fair. I do like that if you go into your DTube page, like your individual profile page, whatever, the page that lists all your videos, you can still see the old ones, even if it's one that doesn't play anymore. Though I like that because that is part of your video history, the thumbnail, the description, the related Steemit article, because every time you post something to DTube, it also creates a Steemit article. So I like that stays there, but I think it would be cool if in the little corner of the video where they have the information where it says how long the video is, and if for some reason there's a glitch that they can't recognize how long the video is, it just says 0 seconds, 0 minutes and 0 seconds. That little corner there, I think it would be good if they had like some sort of expired symbol or something like that, just to let you know that video is not going to play. But you can still click on it and get the information, the text, the description of when that video had been uploaded originally. In the thumbnail, all that. And the comments are also important. All of that is. So, that's good, yeah. But, yeah, I think there should be a little symbol that just lets you know that this video file has now expired from the DLive server, or DTube server, yeah. But, DTube, I like it, and DTube is the better of the two. The one that is more, or I should say, the one that is more organized between DTube and DLive. DTube is more organized to promote and share pre-recorded videos. But DLive, if you do upload something to DLive, as far as I can tell, it stays there. It might, if you click on a really old video of yours, it might be a little slower and longer to load up, but it will load up. And another place is BitChute. BitChute's pretty good. Well, it has its limits. BitChute, the monetization, you can't beat YouTube's monetization if you get in the program that allows you to be monetized and you manage to stay in the program that allows you to be monetized. The actual sending money straight to your bank account, that's set up YouTube, it's hard to beat that, The cryptocurrency Steem, trading that for either Canadian dollars or US dollars or whatever dollar, that's a few extra steps that a lot of people aren't going to want to bother with. I don't think it's that bad that I would ever say you shouldn't sign up, because I think it'd be a good idea to give it a try, check it out, see what you think of the whole idea, even of cryptocurrency. DLive seems to make the cryptocurrency thing a little bit easier, but DLive isn't really set up yet to be fully what they plan to be. They plan to have it so that you can be monetized with upvotes, kind of like DTube and Steemit. That is what they supposedly have planned, but right now it's mostly just through upvotes and things like that that you're monetized right now. But I do like, when you go into your account on DLive, which is Lino, the Lino cryptocurrency. I do like I said earlier, how you can go in and out of it with and use PayPal. Well, BitChute is it's kind of like what you're doing with DLive now, that a lot of the monetization is based on gifts or tips. You can tip or pledge to somebody on BitChute. And that's the monetization. Technically, a few creators that got their attention are in a program where their videos are monetized, appear on the corner of the video screen. And that'd be kind of cool to get a little ad money from that. I could definitely get behind that idea. It's not the same as the ads on YouTube videos, but it's I'm not somebody that hates ads. I don't mind waiting through an ad. I don't mind looking at an ad on the side of the screen and then just scrolling down past it. You know, as long as it's not going to pop up on the screen, block something I'm trying to read, and then just play and make a bunch of noise, or worse, pop up under the web page and start blaring a bunch of noise, and I'm like, what the hell is this damn thing playing? Where is it? And I gotta minimize stuff, and that's like, here's a damn pop-up ad that popped under the web page instead of, that's annoying. That's annoying. But yeah, DLive, DLive, DTube, BitChute, YouTube, whatever. BitChute, you know, it's the only ads I've ever really seen were in the upper right-hand corner of the video screen. Only a few content creators at this time have that, so I think it's like a pilot project that more people will probably have in the future. But ultimately, BitChute monetize just comes from people tipping you. People doing tips. People tipping you. The tip of the penis. No, monetary tips. Which is fine. That's not bad. I mean, people make money on Patreon producing content that you have to pay to see. Well, you know, if you're somebody that doesn't create enough content regularly that you feel as though that you're comfortable making people pay to go to a site to see your stuff, that you want your stuff out there, but giving people the option to send you a tip, then BitChute's a pretty good option for that. Because if you're on BitChute, and if you connect your PayPal account to BitChute, somebody can tip your video. And yeah, a small portion of it's going to go to BitChute. That makes sense. I mean, they need to take care of their infrastructure, you know? I mean, they got to make some money too. So one way to support BitChute is actually to support the content creators on BitChute that you like. So it's not a bad idea, but it's not the automatic money source that monetizing on YouTube will be, where, you know, an ad plays, you're probably going to make money off of it, especially if somebody watches the ad for 30 seconds or clicks on the ad, you know, and, yeah, I mean, you know, you're going to make money off that. A little bit each time it happens, but it adds up, you know. Well, this is different. It requires people to decide to tip you, but if they do, there you go. A lot of people have PayPal now. It's not an uncommon thing, you know. Just about everybody uses PayPal at some point. So, you know, or has used PayPal at some point. So, we're not talking about something unusual or out of the normal to go deal with. So actually, I think that is kind of cool. Though I would like to see them start to make ads more available for monetization on BitChute, you know, other things like that. The thing that I would like is if BitChute did something so that every time you post a video to BitChute, it would also create a Steam article. If they could make an agreement with Steam it and get on the Steam blockchain, I think that'd be pretty cool. But then they end up being competing with DTube, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I gotta say, anybody that, if Steam, if BitChute, you know, their infrastructure, I mean, they don't have playlists quite like YouTube. I think you have to be a supporter for people to be able to click on your playlist. Like, you can go and create a playlist, but, you know, you can't fill it with an unlimited number of videos, and, you know, and you need special conditions to actually have people able to use your playlist. Like, you actually have to be like, I think there's like a bronze, gold, and silver packages of BitChute, of support you can give to BitChute. And that allows you so many playlists and so many videos in each playlist, which I think the playlist thing just should be an automatic thing that anybody can do. I think they should come up with other incentives. But, you know, YouTube is the master of playlists and annotations. You know, like a little card that'll pop up at the top of the screen on one side or the other. You know, it's the right hand corner of the screen. But considering how this video's been mirrored, I'm not sure how my camera's gonna
well, it's really a phone. Not really sure how this thing's going to mangle the video. If this time is going to be one of the times where it's backwards or not backwards. So, it's like a little tab with a link to a video could appear over here or over here, depending on how this video is broadcasting. Which, again, the fault of my setup here. But I didn't see an option to turn it back the way it used to be. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think as BitChute grows, I'd like to see them do more of that. But BitChute, as infrastructure goes, I think they're set up really well. Really well. The downside to BitChute, to me, is the general environment. You see, BitChute got a lot of popularity thanks to it was some I don't remember her name. She was with the Rebel Media, and if you know what the Rebel Media is, yeah, my nose is still itchy. Feels like I just got a nose full of cat hair. She was like some woman who was with the Rebel Media. I don't immediately remember her name, so I'll just refer to her as Whitey McWhitebitch. She got in trouble. What was it? She claimed she was kicked out of Scotland for racism, but she wasn't actually kicked out, and I forget that story, but there was, I don't know. But anyway, she complained about how YouTube censors her videos. And even if she's a crazy, probably racist, extreme conservative, even if all that, and I'm not criticizing all conservatives, maybe I am, but not really. But even if she is what I'd consider questionable and her backstory is kind of questionable because it was something about she supposedly claimed to be kicked out of some place trying to censor. I don't know what. I shouldn't even try to remember that. It's been so long since I read the story. Basically, one of the things she did was she criticized YouTube censorship, which everybody does. But her way of handling it was probably kind of smart. It actually was very smart. Is everything that she uploaded to the internet, she was also uploading to BitChute. Everything she uploaded to YouTube, she was also going to upload to BitChute, because BitChute doesn't have any censorship. It actually does, but it's different. It's different. Anyway, yeah, BitChute has censorship of, oh my god, sex, nudity, and orgasms. Well, you can have some nudity if you label it not safe for work. As opposed to DTube and Steam It, where you label it not safe for work. You've warned people, there could be nudity, there could be scantily clad people, or there could be straight up fucking, not safe for work on DTube and Steam It and so forth. Not safe for work, is your warning. And after that, no censorship required. But on BitChute, it's like, you can label it not safe for work. And no. It might still be too much for BitChute. Even though you can have it, even though odds are, if you're not set up to specifically view not safe for work stuff, you're not going to see it. It's not going to. Anyway, that's beside the story. Anyway, BitChute, does have censorship. But what BitChute has a lot more of, which does tend to get shut down a bit on DTube, not completely censored, but hidden. It's like when people get offended, they downvote things, and it gets kind of blocked a bit, is racism. If you were to just load up BitChute right now and then see the pages that are kind of popular, they're not all racist. You might be able to find some stuff you might want to view there. Of course, you might be a racist, in which case the racist stuff is stuff you're also going to want to view there too. But it's like, that was the thing that always made me feel a little, it's like, where have I arrived? Sometimes when I look at the list of videos available on BitChute, no, my face is itchy. I need to shave. Ugh. I didn't get around to shaving this week. Now I see myself in the video and... Hello. Anyway. what the hell was I talking about? BitChute. Yeah, sometimes I'll go to the BitChute screen or the BitChute when you first log on and you see all the videos, and it'll be like, oh, there's a video blaming Jewish people for stuff. You can tell by the title. Oh, there's a video that appears to be putting down black people. You can tell just by the title on it. And it's like, and then you scroll down, you'll see a video that you notice looks kind of normal, and then you'll notice underneath it says it's published by the channel known as White Power. You know, you see a lot of stuff that you're like, I think I detected a lot of signs of racism here. You know, so when Whitey McWhite Bitch from the Rebel Media promoted BitChute, a lot of the same people that followed her, who were disenfranchised with a lot of the censorship on the internet. And by the way, I am in no way, shape, or form promoting censorship. I'm just saying that this is some of the people that were the first ones to go to BitChute. When they started going to BitChute, they went there in massive numbers. So it's very noticeable that there's a lot of that content there. So I think it's a good thing to have platforms without censorship. I think every horrible idea, no matter how bad it is, has the right to be communicated with other people willing to listen to it. That said, I could completely understand why some people might be unsettled by the massive amounts of racism on BitChute. And I wouldn't really be able to measure how much of it is, but I'd put it this way. The amount that you see there, you wouldn't expect to see it on YouTube, you wouldn't expect to see it on DTube, you wouldn't expect to see it on DLive. It's noticeably a larger number, and larger amount. And to me, that's the only thing I don't really like about BitChute, which I don't blame the website for. That, if anything, I blame the fact that so many other places are so full of censorship that, well, actually, even that should have drawn a lot more reasonableness. Now, I've seen plenty of reasonable videos there. In fact, TJ Kirk, also known as the Amazing Atheist, started posting videos on BitChute. And I would not consider his content racist. But I'm sure there's some social justice warriors out there that would love to paint him with that label, but no. He's anti-social justice warrior. But I noticed his videos, like especially when he talks about a lot of liberal ideas and progressive concepts, which, and by that I don't mean social justice warrior. I don't mean regressive. I mean actual progressive stuff. You can tell that a lot of the audience is not into that sort of thing. You know, he could criticize Ben Shapiro for saying the craziest thing ever, and people be like, no way, man, you can't even argue against Ben Shapiro. You know, like, you don't even know how to argue against Ben Shapiro. You know, like, I forget exactly what it was, but I saw, like, comments along that line. And it wasn't Ben Shapiro. I'm trying to think of what video it was. But there was one where there was this woman basically said, why can't liberals answer this question or answer that question? And it was basically her saying things that technically weren't racist, but kind of racist sounding, and basically saying, why can't you ask a liberal this? Or why do the liberals think there's something wrong with that? And he answered each one of her questions, often at the start of it saying that he was a liberal and technically he can say this and he could say that, and it was like responses like that. Then he went into detail I wouldn't say questioning, but basically he gave a response to each of her questions. Each of her questions really came off as, either the same or similar. And he often his response is, "Well, actually, I can say this, and actually, you could say that, but it does sound a bit racist." But it was like you ended up with responses that started like that, but he actually discussed what she said. And then I remember in the comments seeing a bunch of people saying, "You didn't answer one of her questions." And I saw somebody respond to a comment similar to that by saying, "Are you crazy? He responded to each one of her questions, and each one of her questions was the same thing." You know. So basically, you you're going to see a lot of political stuff on DTube, and not DTube. Well, you're going to see a lot of political stuff on DTube. Actually, yeah, you will see a lot of political stuff on DTube. A lot of it is libertarian, probably mostly libertarian, and a lot of it is also progressive and liberal. But most of it, I know it's more libertarian than anything. And BitChute gets its share of libertarian stuff too, but it's often that kind of white nationalist, conservative stuff that I've seen a lot of on BitChute. So BitChute has a lot of that. I'd say that would be with DTube. I'd say more than anything, you're probably going to see a lot of libertarian content, followed by liberal and progressive stuff, and maybe some conservative stuff. But the most noticeable amount of content you're going to see on DTube when it comes to politics, and you will see a lot of stuff about the politics of the world on DTube, because it's not censored, at least not in any traditional manner. It's probably libertarian, and I kind of like going to a place and seeing a lot of libertarian videos. A little less cool with what I see, like some white nationalist conservative videos. Not all conservatives are white nationalists, by the way. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying a very specific type of political group. And while all voices that are, not mainstream tend to get censored a lot on YouTube as well as the mainstream media, definitely different groups flourish in different environments. Like I said, DTube's a great place for libertarian news or libertarian discussions. BitChute tends to have a lot of white nationalists. I mean, I don't know what else to call it, but there's that. But to me, that was the one downside to BitChute, because the infrastructure, love it. I love how the videos are organized. I'd like it if they would liberate the playlists and stuff like that, make that more accessible and usable. Stuff like that. That would be something great. But other than that, I mean, the infrastructure is great with BitChute. The way the videos are organized, the ease of upload, right now, all of these environments are growing. So I'm actually looking forward to larger numbers of people getting on BitChute, because I want to see more stuff that's not some of the less pleasant stuff I've been seeing. And it's not that I want to censor those people. I just want to see more stuff that's not that. Because the way I recommend censoring bad ideas is kind of like the expression, sunlight is the best disinfectant. You shine light on it, you discuss it, and you move on because it's a bad idea. It's kind of like I think everybody knows that racism is bad except for the racists, And even then, I think some of them know it's bad and they just don't care. So I think I've rambled on a little bit too long about how BitChute, I like that it's not really all that censored, but it is one of the places where it's kind of like, a lot of the content isn't as Ah, shit. I'm not even sure how to word that. But I think you get the gist. I think you get the gist. A lot of the content on BitChute is more questionable in the category of, is it going to insult somebody just for how they were born? Yeah. Yeah, that's the downside to BitChute. But I gotta say, it's got a lot of potential. I mean, there's not a lot of people on there sharing, for example, videos about video games. There are some, excuse me. But there's more of that on DTube and a lot more of that on DLive. DLive's all about that. If you were to pick an environment as something that DLive is really, really got a lot of, it would probably be that. DLive, if you see news and political stuff, it's probably going to be, and philosophical stuff, you're probably going to see a lot of libertarian stuff. You also see some progressive stuff, liberal stuff, and so forth. But probably mostly libertarian as well. But the news and politics things on DLive really is not as noticeable as the entertainment side of things on DLive. DLive is all about the video games. Not literally all about the video games, but it's heavily focused around live stream. And right now, their current restructuring, I think they're probably going to get organized better for pre-recorded content. I don't know. But whether or not they do or not, they in the past had been heavily focused on live streaming with, pre-recorded stuff on the side. Now the pre-recorded stuff is pushed a little bit off further to the side as they're more focused on live streaming, but I think that's because they're in the early stages of their newest phase of development now that they're on the Lino blockchain. And, I wouldn't say it's all just, there's a notification. I'm not sure what that said. All right, I'll look at it. Oh, there we go. What does that say? Let's see. YouTube. New from Secular Talk. Smug Fox host tries to be the right-wing Jon Stewart. Fails. Yeah, it's to be expected. Only Jon Stewart could be Jon Stewart, apparently, because everybody else seems to have failed at being Jon Stewart. Stephen Colbert used to be a pretty cool follow-up to Jon Stewart. Not a very good follow-up to David Letterman, but... anyway, I should finish what I was saying about the Lino blockchain. Yeah. You'll sometimes see InfoWars on DLive. InfoWars is now every place that's not going to... No, they always were every place, actually. But since they were booted off of, Facebook and YouTube and then even Twitter, since all that, they're going to a lot of the alternate places. I've seen them on DLive, doing live streams on DLive. I've seen them, I don't see them as much, oddly enough, on DTube. I know they're there on DTube, though. They're on DTube. And I see them on BitChute. BitChute and DLive. I see see InfoWars. A lot of that now that Alex Jones has booted off anything mainstream, So I was going to talk about Jon Stewart because apparently somebody was trying to be the next Jon Stewart. So, or the right-wing equivalent of Jon Stewart. And I'm just going to lean over here and, take some weight off my feet. I'm just a fat bastard wearing out my feet. Who needs to go shave? I need to go put some laundry in the dryer, too. I'll get around to that after. I really should put my barbecue sauce back in the fridge. It's, good stuff. Yeah, I like the stuff. It's good. Yay! Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Sweet and spicy. Sweet baby Ray's. Yeah. About my cans. Well, I can ramble on about cans of pop. I don't know what I was talking about. Wasn't I talking about, still with the itchy nose, it's itchy. Doesn't feel like I've got as much cat fur in my nose now. what the hell was I saying? Yeah, InfoWars is now, everywhere that InfoWars can be, now that they can't be any place all that mainstream. Yeah, I've been seeing them on D-Live a lot. Yep. Which is another reason why you're going to get a lot of conservative voices in certain places, because well-known conservatives have been censored. But guess what? Progressives and liberals and libertarians are also being... Well, actually, Alex Jones is a little bit between conservative and libertarian. He bounces back and forth. But anyway, yeah, I was thinking about joking about how I worded that. He bounces back and forth, and then he turns into a gay frog, and I don't know. No, shit, what was I going to say? Getting dehydrated. Yeah, you'd think as people get censored more and more people will be drawn towards the alternate platforms, but so far, they're not growing as fast as I would have thought. So I want to get completely off topic just because I'm rambling on about stuff. I wonder how much resolution you can see in this video. Yeah, is that just a blur? Am I just a voice, a pixelated voice in the dark? It's hard to say because, as in the past, a lot of these videos had really bad resolution. This, having Feisty Cherry Diet Coke. And why I'm commenting on this and my eyes starting to bother me, the dry ear or something, I don't know what it is, but my eyes bother me a bit. So I'm just going to close one eye and open the other one. Slurp down some Diet Coke. Dry air does not get along well with my eyes, but I didn't think the air was that dry lately. My eyes, my tired, exhausted eyes. I'm gonna cry over how my eyes sting. Yes, whatever. Anyway, yeah, this back in the spring, I saw when they're advertising like the Feisty Cherry Diet Coke and the various flavors like ginger lime, yeah, ginger lime, that's ginger lime. The various flavors of Diet Coke, and they already had the cherry Coca-Cola Zero, which I think they're now calling Cherry Coke Zero Sugar or something like that. Got a can of it here. It's good stuff. I resist drinking this can because it's my last can. I think it's my last can. I should go look in the porch to see if I have another one. Might be my last can of Coca-Cola Zero Sugar Cherry. Cherry. I really need to trim my fucking fingernails. Cherry. And the Coca-Cola Zero Cherry I find is a better taste. It's a better cherry taste. This one's more of a bitter cherry, but I still like it. And when they came out with the 4 flavors of Diet Coke, specifically Diet Coke, not Coke Zero or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Why don't they just keep calling it Coke Zero? None of that. No siree. It's Diet Coke. The Diet Coke brand within the family of Coca-Cola brands. So it's separate from Coke Zero. Because it's Diet Coke. The Diet Cokes that were flavored, you get this kind of bitter cherry, which is good. I just don't find it not as good as the other one. But it's good enough that I like it. And I want to buy more of it. And when they promoted it, they also came out with the other ones, like the ginger lime and the... No, what's this one? This one's Twisted Mango. And the Zesty Blood Orange, all that wonderful stuff. They came out with those flavored versions of Diet Coke. And I wanted to buy some. I was nearly broke. Had very little money, and I was like, well, as soon as I have a paycheck, and I'll be able to afford it. And it was like they disappeared. Like, I saw them advertised in the spring, And it's like it took them no time to disappear. I'm like, oh, it's another one of those fad flavors of pop where they promote something, and then it's like this is special blue electric Mountain Dew bullshit, and then it goes away. Actually, I think they kept that one around for quite a while. It might still be out there too. I don't know. But they come out with like a special flavor of something. It would actually be good, and then it's just gone. It's like, well, you know, I might have wanted to buy more of it. I would have dumped my money on your stupid product if you kept selling it, but it showed up and disappeared too fast. Oh, excuse me. So I thought, I want to stockpile some of this stuff before it disappears, because I liked it. Not my favorite version of Coca-Cola with cherry. I prefer the Coca-Cola Zero cherry. But I like this too. And, you know, sometimes I like something a little bit different. And so anyway, I got like a box of it, but I was going to get a box of each flavor and have it for, you know, I'd have it on hand, and you know, then it disappeared. And you know, then I went looking for it when I went shopping for groceries, and I had the money to buy stuff like that, so I figured I'd stock up on it, and it's like, then it's gone. And throughout the summer, there was like this almost like a cat and mouse kind of, there it is, but I can't afford it. So I can afford it now. It's not in the store anymore. That was in the store last week. Right over here. Bunch of it. None of it. Look over in the regular pop line. None of it. It's gone. They did away with it. And it's like, holy crap, it's back, you know? And then, you know, like a couple weeks later, holy crap, it's back. If only I could afford to stock up on it. I know this time I'll just get the can of ginger lime. Yeah, I like ginger, and I like lime, and I like Coke, Diet Coke, you know. I like this. I think it would have been better if it was two separate beverages. One ginger, the other lime. Yeah, ginger, lime. Like ginger. I think it'd be better separate, but I like the ginger lime. You know, I'll get a box of that. A box full of cans of ginger lime. You know, after I had the box of the feisty cherry, and it's like, how much, you know, it's like, when I could afford it, it's like, okay, now when it's payday, I'm going to really stock up on this stuff. When I get paid, when I go get groceries, I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to get more of it. I'm going to get a box of each flavor. And then, you know, payday comes, get my chance to go off to the grocery store, and it's like, gone. It's like, is this damn stuff out of print already? They just started producing it back in the spring, and we're only halfway through the summer, and I can't buy it. You know, it's like, all right, fine. No more Diet Coke and ginger lime and feisty cherry and mango and orange. None of it. It's all gone. Whatever. Oh well, I was gonna stock up on it, buy a bunch of it, but they don't want my money. Then, like, that had happened like a few times back and forth. As I remember getting a box of the cherry flavored, then getting a box of the ginger lime, then getting a box of the cherry flavored, when I could just afford a box at a time. And at one point early in the spring, they had it available that you could buy individual cans, not, you know, on a shelf somewhere. Excuse me, but I wanted to stock up on it because I like Diet Cola, and for a change, I like something a little bit different, you know. And eventually, I did get I forget when I got the zesty orange, but I probably just bought an individual can one of the times when I saw that available. Got the zesty blood orange, not bad either. It's, you know, at one point I got that. And then eventually, it was September. I mean, I'm pretty sure this stuff came out some point in the spring. I remember it in the spring. I remember, you know, people I used to talk to online a lot more back then, probably because it was online, certain places more back then. You know, new people that I spent more time hanging out with since then, and at least one new friend since then that I, you know, ended up hanging around with more. Like, I could actually, like,
sit back and think of the passage of time. You know, what things were like in the spring, early summer, midsummer, late summer, how things changed. Then you get to September. In September, I went to a wedding. And there were, friends going to this wedding. They're nice people. They're cool people. So it's worth exposing myself to a church to go to their wedding and be pleasant, and all that. The church didn't burst into flames when I walked in. So that was good. That was good. Because it's kind of like, you sit down and then you pick up the book. It's like, oh, look, it's the Bible. Then bursts into flames, because I picked it up. And, that's just what religion does when I get exposed to it, is it bursts into flames and then shoots lightning bolts at me. And then I have to go kill God over again, But, yeah. It was a good experience, It was a nice day. Went to the reception and, remember walking around in the fresh air. When I was talking to someone else who went outside to smoke, great time, good time, positive memories. Then I was going to stop into their place later on the way home, talk to some people, hang out for a while. But before I went home, I was going to stop at the... I remember, my cell phone wasn't working, but it'd be a way for me to get out communication, too, because when I went to the grocery store, I could use the grocery store's Wi-Fi. But also, I wanted to pick up some food stuff. I realized the Wi-Fi thing later, it was September, we were basically, for all intents and purposes, by my standards, summer's over. Aw, September. But, it was a good day, nice day. And I go to the grocery store, and there it is. They have boxes of the stuff again. I thought it had been gone for probably close to a month. And it's like, hadn't seen any of it except for a few places that had a couple stray cans for sale. Excuse me. And it's back. It's back again. So, and I wasn't broke. I wasn't out of money. So I bought boxes of the stuff. One each. That was the best I could do for stocking up on the stuff. And I wasn't going to be as busy with work. So it's kind of like, well, it's not like I'm going to be stocking it up for my lunches quite the same. I mean, yeah, I might take a couple cans with me to work, but that's okay. I'll stock up on it. I'll treat it like it's precious. Because odds are I'm not going to be able to get it ever again. I don't know if I will or I won't. But I have my boxes of Diet Coke. My precious boxes of Diet Coke. Which there's a little bit less of every moment. And yes. I like ginger lime. I like the blood orange. Both good. I think even though I don't like it as much as the Coca-Cola Zero Cherry, the Feisty Cherry Diet Coke, I think that's probably my favorite. Although it is a little more bitter than the other ones. And then there's the Twisted Mango. Yeah, I finally got a box of Twisted Mango. And, well, I've already tried it. Oh, look, a little bit of it splattered out when I opened it. You know what it looks like? A little droplet there. Right there. A little droplet of it. It looks just like Diet Coke. Yeah, they flavored it, but they didn't really color it any different. Or maybe they did. Maybe if I poured it in a glass, I could tell the difference. Yeah, it just looks like Diet Coke. That's good, too. Actually, this one... Of them, this one tastes the most like plain old Diet Coke. Of course, that could just be the way I'm tasting things at the moment after drinking the other three. Or a large portion of them. Yeah, I'm going to have to urinate soon, aren't I? Yeah. So this is good. Something like Twisted Mango, the citrus flavor. That's probably something that would... I think most people would think would go pretty good with a Diet Cola. And I've actually been holding the cans enough. My hand is feeling kind of... you hold something cold for a while and you get that kind of... it's not really numb, but
kind of uncomfortable feeling. Yeah. So that's my Diet Coke story for this summer. It was like during the spring, it was just like this background thing. You know, I saw the ads for it. It's like, wow, I drink a lot of cola. I want that. And then before it was even summer, it was still spring out. And I was still doing the things that I was doing back in the spring. I saw light reflect. Somebody out there? Somebody's out there somewhere looking for someone to find them. I don't know. Guess not. Thought I saw the light reflecting off of a car coming in. But I didn't hear anything, so must have been just something going past. Excuse me. Yeah, that's my Diet Coke story. Yep. Excuse me. That's my Diet Coke story. Yep, in the spring, I remember doing stuff in the spring, it having its very specific feeling of being that time of the year, and every now and then thinking, you know what, I'll look to see if this stuff is in the grocery store when I have the money. And then repeatedly seeing it when I didn't have the money to stockpile some Diet Coke. Yeah. And then throughout the summer, early summer, I was thinking, wow, they got rid of the stuff already? They're not producing it anymore. Wow, as products go, that came and went away pretty damn fast. And like, I kept thinking that throughout the summer because I know, like, often when they promote products like that, especially if it's a bunch of flavors, it rarely lasts very long. And then maybe they'll bring it back next year. However that works, to me, I think that was bad marketing, but whatever. It did encourage me to think maybe I should stockpile it while I can. Except it disappeared, so I didn't have that chance. Couldn't stockpile something that wasn't there anymore. Throughout the summer, you know, I just remember being off doing summer things. And then when I think of the Diet Coke, I think of all the times I didn't have any money but went to the grocery store. Hey, there's a little cat. You know, went to the grocery store. I went to the grocery store, and there it was when I didn't have any money. But there it was. And then on payday, I'd come back for some. On payday. Yes, little Benjamin. I'd do that. And it'll be gone. Every fucking payday, it was gone. Yep, here's Benjamin. He doesn't care if I get my Diet Coke or not. No. He doesn't care if it tastes like mango or if it tastes like a cherry flavored, the sour cherry flavor. He just wants his cat food. There we go. So anyway, that's me rambling on, and this video is pretty much useless. I did a live stream. Technically, I'm still doing it. And now the world has an autumn feeling. And I'm here drinking multiple flavors of Diet Coke. Looking out the window over there. Seeing the outdoors environment. The blue sky. So much blue sky. No sign of clouds. It's all blue sky. Wow. Oh, the sun is in my eyes. Oh, there's a few clouds near the horizon over that way. I get the sunlight in my eyes. My eyes are dry. Well, one of my eyes is dry. I don't know what I did to agitate it. Even just thinking about it's... And of course, when my eye starts to sting, then my sinuses are just swollen shut again. Or maybe I get cat fur in my sinuses again. Oh my. I should probably end this live stream. But I'm just trying to think of stuff to ramble on about. And then I can, I don't know. I just felt like doing a video live stream while I had the house to myself. Because I can. Why not? Probably because it's a bad idea. I didn't actually prepare anything in particular to talk about. I just wanted to ramble on about Star Trek. And, some cryptocurrency loosely connected to video streaming websites, such as, Steam and DTube, or Lino and DLive. So there's that, And, I must have rambled on for about a half hour before I got disconnected from the internet. And now this has been 104 minutes. So this is quite a way to spend my afternoon. I'm like, oh, it's bugging me ever since I looked into the sunlight. Because my eyes. I'm not aging well. Actually, I'm not holding up too bad. I'm just not doing that well at the moment. More Diet Coke. That's what I need. I just need more Diet Coke. Oh, yeah. Cola. And my nose is itchy. My nose is itchy. It really does feel like I get cat fur on my nose. Could be my own hair. Could be my beard twisting around and sticking myself in the nose. I need to shave. I need to shave. Ugh. Oh, yeah. No, I can't think of anything else to do other than just be like rambling on more and 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 more. So I probably should end this video soon. Hey Ben, did you want to come back over and get on the camera again? Nope, Cat's not interested. Alright, so I guess this video's over. Should I end it? Should I end it for real? Should I really end it? Oh, my eyes. Yeah, that's right. I'm squinting. Actually, my eyes aren't really that bad at the moment. They were for a second there. It's like, tired. I actually feel kind of tired. Probably because it's daylight. I'm usually the most awake at night. Well, good night, people. I guess I should end this. All right, what button do I press? Oh, my nose is itchy again. All right, let's see. It's not that one. Not that one. Not that one. It could be over. Oh, there's a little X up here. All right. So will I end this video for real? Really? Yeah, I guess so. This is pretty lame. But it's okay because nobody's watching anyway. Anyway, time to end this. Time to end this. All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah, there we go. And nothing happened. All right. No. All right, come on. Come on. Ah, now it's asking me, are you sure you want to stop streaming? Well, it's nice of it to ask. Excuse me. I guess I need one last dose of Diet Coke. Alternating flavors. Oh, yes. The alternating flavors. There we go. There we go. Now I'm hydrated and ready to go. Ready to go away. Should I give this video a little extra time to stick up some end screen credit things, maybe some annotations on YouTube? I probably should download it and edit it into something usable. Scrape together 5 or 6 minutes probably of usable content out of the nonsense of me just rambling on and drinking Diet Coke. But I probably should go to the bathroom. I probably should go to the bathroom. All right, so are you sure you want to stop streaming? Yes. So I will click end. Itchy. My face is itchy. All right. I am going to click end now. All right. Any second now. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And I almost did it. I actually pressed it, but it didn't affect it.